I've seen a lot of commentary recently from some players and coaches about the 44-game season packed into the same length of time. I'm curious if you've seen any of that, and you guys are about to play every other day for a couple weeks, what you've thought of the rigors of the new schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but certainly, it is what it is. I think for us, especially as a new staff implementing a new system, it's really learning how quickly we can turn around from a game plan standpoint, execution standpoint, how much we can do, early, making sure that we're smart about resting the bodies and doing the mental challenge versus the physical challenge in practice and continuing to grow there. I mean, certainly the players here, the returning players here played that the first part of the season last year, right? So kind of have an idea of what that looks like. But, it is what it is. And, we're a league that's continuing to grow. We want to have more games, and figuring out the footprint is a tricky thing.
Yeah, kind of on that same vein with the recovery and rest with this stretch, how is that especially important for, Caitlin or Sophie coming off of these injuries?
Yeah, it's really important. The things that they do on their own in terms of rest and recovery, the things that we do from a practice standpoint as well. Yesterday was probably the last time that we'll really get a good practice in for a couple of weeks. So making sure that we're able to find a way to address slippage, to give them every tool that they need from a recovery and rest standpoint, especially because we're going to be traveling. The back end of this trip is a really tough one for us. And so, keeping everything in mind, but also, we got to handle the business that's in front of us.
Conversations about specifically the impact of the Commissioner's Cup game tonight and potentially having the opportunity to represent the East if things were to go your way?
Not a lot of conversations. We certainly address the fact that we're playing Cup games, but at the same time, we want to control the things that we can control. We've got to be able to think about us and our improvement and really our ability to, we say it a lot, stack days to be better tonight than we were against New York, to continue to grow in the areas that we need to continue to grow in, continue to be more consistent. So, we have the conversation because it is a competition, but not any more or less than we do just being prepared and being ready for the next game.
I know you said you won't really have much time to practice, but now that you're mostly at full strength, what do you feel like the needs are of this team? What do you hope to get accomplished beyond like the wins and such right now?
Yeah, I think defensively, we look a little different now with Sophie and Caitlin back on the floor. So we've got to really continue to grow in that area. There are nights where we're really good, and there are nights when we're not so good. And we've got to be consistent in that area. Particularly guarding our yard, guarding one-on-one, and handling on-ball screen defense. Continuing to get better in those areas, defending without fouling, and then offensively. Obviously, our continuity is going to come. I think you can see it in spurts. We want to continue to put people in positions to be successful, understanding who you're on the floor with and how to get them the ball in position to be successful. I think for us to do what we want to do and accomplish the things that we want to accomplish and be there to make a deep run in the postseason, we're going to have 6-7 players in double figures. So how can we consistently get there? It's still a work in progress.
And then any expectation for DB to return on this road trip, or is that purely day-to-day and when she provides an update?
Yeah, it's purely day-to-day. Yep. Thank you.